Hey, what's up, guys? We are going to try out a youth podcast.
Yeah, it's first time. Yeah, really excited. It's like riding a bike that I've never rode before. So
Yeah,
yeah,
so summer is usually around our start of the year for youth group. So we figured we'd try something new, give you guys an opportunity to hear from us a little bit more, dig into things that we've done in youth group, hear some funny stories
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff like that. So,
yeah.
John, I've got some questions for us, but why don't you introduce yourself and then I'll introduce myself?
Yeah, so my name is Jonathan. I have a couple different nicknames. So a lot of the kids in youth, and if you're a parent listening to this, you may hear about a guy named Papa John. So that's not a name I gave myself. It's kind of weird to give yourself nicknames like you can, but it's kind of weird. So one of our leaders who've been here for several years, when I first came on, they're like, "You know what? Let's just call him Papa John," and it just kind of stuck. So yeah, we have a knack for nicknames in youth group. If you've been long enough, like you're probably gonna get a nickname. So
Yeah, and what is your title?
I am the high school director here at Centerpoint.
Sweet. My name is Michael Toro. I go by Toro. Everybody is so shocked to hear my first name is Michael. But that's my nickname around here. I go by my last name because there's a million Michaels wherever you go.
Yeah,
So it's easy and it's fun for the kids to say Toro.
yeah.
I'm the junior high director here at Centerpoint. So I get to hang out with all the middle schoolers. They're crazy, but we love them.
And you're Toro in my phone. I don't know who Michael is.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah,
Everybody calls me Toro. So,
yeah.
all right. So I've got some questions for us, just icebreakers to
Cool.
start out with, and then we can go from there. So, the first one: how long have you been in youth ministry?
Whew, I've been here. I've actually been coming to Centerpoint for 5 years. I was talking to my wife last night. It's been 5 years since we've been here, and I've officially been in youth ministry for about 4.5 ish. Yeah, four. If we're being technical, like 4 years and 9 months. All right. So yeah, almost 5 years. We round up. So we do what's called pastor mass. So we just say 5 years. We just round up. So
Yeah,
what about you?
I've been the junior high director for 5 years now, but I've actually been in youth ministry as a volunteer since 2010. And I actually grew up here at Centerpoint, so I started coming here in middle school, and I went all the way through the high school department. So youth ministry is very near and dear to my heart, as it's what I grew up in.
Yeah.
So, all right, John, what do you love about youth ministry?
Now it's kind of coming full picture. So just seeing someone as a seventh grader and now a senior and actually they're still active in their faith, like still loving God, still reading the Bible, like still coming to church every Sunday and every Wednesday. It's just something so incredible to see. Because you hear and you see these little teeny tiny seventh graders, and some they don't grow very much, but some they grow very tall. And I'm like, wow, I've known you for a really long time. And so just to be able to walk alongside someone for that long is just like one of the greatest honors I could possibly imagine. So, and I think another thing too is when kids really take hold of their faith. Like I'll say something and you could tell they're listening. So I may like misspeak and they'll say, "Hey, you said this, but what'd you really mean?" So I'm like they're locking in, they're really paying attention. So it's just really cool to see that engagement and yeah, it's one of the many things that I love. So
Yeah, I would echo all that stuff. I think for me, one of the things I love most about youth ministry, it's just the moment that you see it click in, especially with a junior higher. It being in junior high ministry, we don't get to see that often, but when we do get to see it, where a student is really taking their faith and making it their own, and kind of like you said, locking in and doing the challenges that we've asked them to do on their own, reading their Bibles, praying for their family and their friends. We just recently had a student do a whole school project on their own faith. And when you get to see moments like that, it makes all the the difficult students or the times where you feel like they're not getting it, it makes all that worth it. So I think
yeah,
for me, that's like one of the biggest things I
yeah,
love about youth ministry.
yeah.
So it's a lot. It's
It's
a
a
lot
lot,
of
yeah.
different things.
And there's a lot that goes into it. So as much
Yeah.
as we love being here Sunday and Wednesday, we're gonna get phone calls at like 9:30. Questions like, "Hey, like
Yeah.
I'm just having a hard time," or "I got a question about the Bible," or "My friend at school they challenged me on certain things, and I'm not
Yeah.
sure what to think about it." And so those are things that like are incredible because it shows they're really thinking about some of these things. And one cool thing too is like encouraging a student to think a certain way about things, and a few months later like, "Hey, you know what, I remember what you said about this, and I had a
Yeah.
conversation with this person and this is what I told them." And it's just super, super cool because we want to believe that God is using broken people like us to help these students grow. And it's just so cool to actually see them actually take these things and kind of take it to the next step. So it's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. Speaking of getting phone calls at random times, getting phone calls while you're at Disneyland from a student who's going through a hardship and they just need somebody to talk to.
Yeah.
It's all the time. So but it's awesome and we love it. So all right, next question, Don. What is your favorite Bible story?
Man, I memorize a lot of verses, and as far as like if I'm thinking of a story, you're talking about like a story of like a character or just like a verse or two?
I'm thinking more of a story with like characters, but it could be anything really. What your favorite passage or
if
story?
I'm thinking of a story with like say a character arc, I would say Joseph, to see that Joseph growing up in such a disgruntled family, and there's this issues with the parents and issues with the kids, and then next thing you know, like they are betraying him, and he goes through all these things. He goes to prison, and then he's accused of things he doesn't do, and the fact that he continues to trust God this whole time, and then he's actually elevated to the second most powerful person in all of Egypt. And the irony in that story is that God used his life to save his family, the same family that had pretty much kicked him to the curb. And so, Genesis 37 to 50 or so kind of describes his entire life. And so I would say that story is something that I love. And we see how Jesus was rejected too. And so Joseph is kind of like a type of what happens to Jesus. So Jesus was on the cross. I mean, he died for our sins. He was beaten. He was all these terrible things. Same thing happened with Joseph. And Joseph was elevated to power, and Jesus, he's kind of the same way. So I like how we can see the examples of Jesus in the life of Joseph. So.
Oh, Joseph's such a good one.
Yeah.
One of my favorites. But I think for me, my favorite of all time has got to be the story of Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, or as I like to say, Shadrach, Meshach, and Benny.
Yeah.
Just their
Benny and the Jets. Sorry. That's what comes to mind when you say that. So, yeah.
Yeah, for sure for you, I think.
Yeah.
But for me, like, just them standing up to this king who's like, hey, you got to worship me. And they're willing to be brave and put their faith out there and to be able to put their own safety at risk to say, I'm going to trust God. And like, my favorite thing is they say, like, even if God doesn't save us, we're going to be okay. God's with us. And then to see them actually get thrown into the furnace, and now there is a fourth person in the fire, and that Jesus was with them all along. And it's just such a great reminder to me that no matter what trials I face, that I can stand up for my faith. I don't need to be afraid of what's going to happen when I stand up for God, and that even if God doesn't save me from whatever comes, I'll know that I'm safe and secure in my faith and in Jesus.
Yeah.
So
because God doesn't always save us from the immediate danger, but we know our souls are secure in him. So
and that's
amazing
something.
Story,
That's something I've been learning a lot lately. Is those circumstances, they're going to come, but God is going to be faithful throughout it. So, all right, and then the last one's a little bit more about you. So, what do you like to do for fun?
Oh, man. So I have a 13 and 11-year-old, so I really like to bug them. So one of my favorite things I like to do for fun, so my daughter just got a phone recently, so I get reminded of things on my phone when she was like 2 or 3. So I love sending her pictures, and she's like, Dad, why did you send me that? So
that's a good Abby impersonation.
Yeah, it's a great impersonation. But I love spending time with my kids, with my wife. I would say if it's just for about me, I love reading. I'm an avid reader. I have like 130 cookbooks. I probably have like double the amount of theology books. So I like to read a lot about a lot of different things. I love working out. And so I would say those are the two main hobbies I have, reading and working out. So
I'm surprised you didn't mention board games.
I do like board games. Yeah. But my wife, she doesn't always want to play them with me. So it's kind of like, what do I got to do to play board games? Like, just clean the house. I'm like, I guess I don't want to play. So, but that is definitely a hobby that I don't do as frequently as I would like to. But if I can always have an excuse to play board games with friends and stuff and family, I'm all about that life.
Yeah. If you don't know John, he brings board games. If you invite him somewhere, he came to my 2-year-old's birthday party with some board games and got us all playing games.
Yeah.
You go over to his house. You play board games. I think you made your mom play board games with you too, right?
Yeah. So my mom needed help with her taxes. I'm like, I'd be more than happy to help you with my taxes. But I got a little request for you. So we played a little board game. So it was fun. It was worth it. Taxes got done and we had fun. So no one lost.
Yeah, yeah, cool. All right, well, a little bit of the things I like to do. I'm a gamer. I'm a huge nerd. So I like video games. I like things Star Wars related. As you can see, I'm wearing a Star Wars shirt. I love watching movies. Going to the movie theaters is like one of my favorite things to do. And then hanging out with my wife and my 2-year-old. We have some pretty crazy times, especially now. She's developing that temper tantrum stuff.
Yeah.
So we're
Talking
doing
about you or Luna?
yes,
Oh.
me and Luna.
All right,
No,
all
I'm
right.
just kidding. Luna,
Yeah,
of course. She's trying to push those boundaries. So we just we're in that phase right now where we just go out and we do things to get her energy out, so
Yeah.
she doesn't explode on us. So anything family related, we like to go on walks. We like to go out in the front yard and let her run around and water table and stuff like that. But yeah, I like artsy stuff. I'm a musician as well, so I help out a lot with the youth band. I play guitar, and I like to paint miniatures, stuff like that. So I'm a big nerd.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, those are the things I like to do.
Cool.
All right, so if we can, let's do just a quick overview of each of our ministries. So you said you're the high school director. So
Yeah.
can you give me just and everybody to just an example of what kind of goes on a Sunday or a Wednesday? What does high school ministry look like? Just
Yes.
in a brief overview.
So we have two distinct days. So I try to make sure that a Wednesday is going to be a bit different from a Sunday. So typically on Sunday, we'll focus on like big characters, big stories, and the Gospels. So for example, we may start the year talking about Moses or Elijah and really take some time to see like what did God do in their lives and how did God work through them and where do we see God working. And then we'll also take a look at some of the Gospels. So we may spend several months in the book of Mark, or we may spend a month or two, say, looking at Galatians and stuff like that. So we want to have a good balance of like Old Testament and New Testament. And we go through each book verse by verse, and that's typically what we do on Sunday. On Wednesdays, we do a couple more topical things. So we'll talk about things like peace, like where do we see peace in the world? Where is there a lack of peace? And how do we experience more of God's peace? We'll also talk about things like spiritual gifts. So last year we talked about, well, what are they and how do we use them? So we'll typically do more topical things. So yeah, that's kind of how we balance it out. We also have small groups every Sunday and Wednesday. So whenever we talk about any topic, we want to make sure that these things are applicable, and we want to make sure that students can talk to these things with their other students. And so we also have leaders that will help facilitate some of the discussions in small groups. So we want to make sure they're just not hearing facts about God, but we want to make sure these truths are penetrating their hearts and they learn how to live these things out. And how do they live these things out and actually make a difference in their schools and their families? So, yeah, I would say in a brief way, then, yeah, that's kind of what we do.
Nice, yeah. Well, junior high, we're a little bit flip-flop from that. So Sundays is usually more our topical time. So we start off with a large group with our 7th and 8th graders. Usually when we start out on a Sunday morning, we'll play a quick game. Usually it's like a slide game, something to get them interested, plugged in, excited. And then we'll go into our main talk, things like talking about the Holy Spirit, how to ask certain questions. We do a whole series on difficult questions, things that we don't usually talk about all the time. And they actually get to give us questions that they might be thinking of. And so we do more topical stuff where we do that large group talk, and then we break into small groups for maybe like 10, 15 minutes or so at the end and really break those things down, apply them to our lives. And then Wednesdays is a little bit more digging in deeper. Our goal on Wednesdays for junior high is to help our students from 7th to 8th grade mostly read through all of the Gospels. So Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John. We fully read through Mark because it's shorter, and then we kind of jump around the other Gospels because if we've read them fully verse by verse, it would take a lot longer than 2 years. So we try to do that. So we'll read about 15 to 30 verses on a Wednesday night. and then we go through afterwards. We break into small groups. I encourage all the kids to highlight, underline, put question marks next to things. We do the SOAP method, so that's really cool. They get to read scripture, make an observation about what it's saying about God or anything that it might be saying in the verse, and then the A stands for application. So how can they apply that to their lives? And then P is prayer. So we close out in prayer, and that's usually about 20 to 30 minutes of small group time after we've done the reading. And it's really awesome. It's really cool to see in small groups every Wednesday, students saying, hey, I underlined this, but it doesn't make sense. Can we talk about it? And they're asking questions, and they're seeking more knowledge about God and Jesus, and it's really cool to see. So hopefully by the time they're done in junior high, they will have read through the Gospels and understand what Jesus did for us.
Yeah.
So
cool.
that's really cool.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
all right, cool. And then we just had our promotion Sunday. So we got our new, you got your new freshmen. We got our new seventh graders. If you can just maybe say how it was for you guys, and then
So just promotion Sunday. So this is a phrase that we use if you guys aren't familiar with that. So once a year we have every sixth grader goes into seventh grade. So they move buildings, and then we have eighth graders are now in ninth grade. So everyone is going to be moving up a grade. So for high school, it's always very bittersweet because spending several years with seniors who have been there since they were freshmen. Now they graduate. We say goodbye to them one weekend, and then we welcome the new freshmen. So you can see that some may be a bit apprehensive because they may not be used to the 10th graders, 11th graders, and stuff like that. But that have been really well. So we just want to know how much they're loved and how much they're cared for, and we just want them to feel super welcome and to know that the next 4 years they spend here, we want them to know it's going to be worth it. So we're really excited for the summer. Yeah,
it's going to be a cool summer. We had 32 junior hires at our 1045 service on Sunday, which is like wild. If you know anything about middle schoolers, you know how chaotic that was. But it was awesome. It was fun getting to see all the new seventh graders come in. They know the eighth graders right now because, they were all in Kid City together. So there's some familiarity there, but they just kind of all came in, plugged in, had good energy. They were excited to be there. I didn't have really any issues. A lot of people, they seem to just kind of fit right in. We were playing a game at the beginning of service. We play a game called Do You Love Your Neighbor? And you make a big circle of chairs and you run all over the place. It's a lot of fun. You should try it. But I was like, oh man, the circle kept getting bigger and bigger. And I was like, oh my goodness.
Add more chairs, right?
We got to add more chairs. So Isaiah ran out into the garage, was grabbing chairs. We were pulling it in. I told Matt and Isaiah, who are my leaders, they used to be in junior high. And I was like, guys, we haven't had a big group like this since you guys were in junior high. This is awesome. So it was really cool. We played some get to know you stuff and got to know all the kids. And we're just really excited for what God's going to do in these new seventh graders' lives throughout their whole time in the youth department. It's going to be really, really fun to see. And we've got a bunch of events coming up. So if you guys want to know more, we have a summer calendar for events coming out. But I did want to highlight one that we've got coming up, pretty big one, which is summer camp.
Summer camp,
we're very excited for summer camp. It's huge. And if we can just kind of talk about it, I got a couple questions. What is camp exactly? If you could say, I like to ask students in 3 words, describe camp.
In 3 words?
In 3 words.
And I am not a man of few words. It is awesome.
Yeah.
And the reason why I say these 3 words is because it allows students to spend a concentrated time with one another, with fellow leaders, and most importantly, with God. And so if you take on any given year, a student can come say every single Sunday. Well, that's 52 hours in a year, where in camp, we spend almost double that in those 3 days. Well, not double that. I'm really bad at public math, but it's more than 52 hours.
Pastor math.
We get to sit and talk and eat with people for dinner, and then breakfast, and then lunch, and dinner again on Saturday, and really spending those intentional times. But I would say my favorite thing is actually seeing kids worship and love to worship, whether they're on their knees or their hands up or they're screaming, they're jumping, and they're shouting, and just to know that God is very worthy of our worship, and to see them understand that and take it seriously, that's like my favorite thing. Hands down, so.
And we have a really amazing youth band, so shout out to you guys if you're listening, if you're watching. We couldn't do it without them and the hard work that they put into it. And it's beautiful seeing what they use their gifts and talents for serves not only God, but their peers. And just, it's beautiful. And it brings us to tears every camp. I can't think of a camp where we've gone without crying because it's just the things God does through the worship and through the prayers. It's just beautiful. So we kind of talked about it a little bit, but anything else that students can expect from camp, maybe something they can get out of camp, or what would you want to tell somebody that's kind of on the fence about signing up for camp, or maybe they're just scared to?
Yeah, I can't think about any student the last 3 years that said, you know what, I hated camp. Like, every single student that goes loves camp. Every single leader that goes loves camp, because I think it shows when we are intentional with our faith and we're trusting that God is going to do something in a given situation. In this particular case, camp, God is very faithful in showing up. And so I think it just shows when you put yourself out there and expect God to move, like he's going to do something. And so it's just really, really cool to see that. So if you want to see God work in your life in an amazing way in the summertime, go to camp. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah. I mean, I can speak to that too. My own testimony, I was a camp kid. I was that kid that didn't want to go to youth group. And my mom was like, hey, you're going to go whether you like it or not. And I did not like that in that moment. But the moment I came back, I was like, I don't want to go home. I want to, this is my new family. Yeah. I want to stay here. And I've, just like Jon said, anybody that's ever been on the fence or nervous or scared has always come back saying, I don't want to go home. I want to stay here. And they found their family that they belong to, where God has called them to be. And it's just a beautiful thing. So if you are thinking about signing up for camp, if maybe we've talked you into signing up for camp, you can go to the Centerpoint Church website, centerpointchurch.church/events, I think it is, or just the events tab. And you can find the summer camp tab and you can sign up there. The cost is $230. We're going to go up to Camp Hondo. It's going to be a really, really cool time of worship, fellowship, and learning about God and growing closer to Him. I know $230 is a lot, but our church, Centerpoint Church, is so generous. If you've given to any kind of youth thing, especially camp, thank you so much for doing that. But we have such a generous church that they have helped pay for a lot of what camp is, including scholarships. And it's just really beautiful to see how generous our church is. And if you need a scholarship, you can apply for that when you sign up for camp. So please, I tell students every year, do not let money be the reason you don't go to camp. Don't let money, don't let being scared, don't let having no friends be the reasons that you guys go to camp. If I see you on the Sunday after camp and you tell me those 3 things of why you didn't go, I'm going to be so sad. Yeah. Because all of those things are so easily solvable, because we have people who are generous, because God is good, and because you have a wonderful youth group who will love and accept you. So, and sign up for camp, right?
Yeah. It'll be amazing.
So with that, I think that is a wrap to our first podcast, first episode
in
thing.
the books. Yeah.
Done, so we did it. Good job. Woo. Thank you guys for tuning in. And if you like this, maybe we'll do some more.
See you guys.
Bye, guys.
All right.